Welcome everyone. This is Ross Garcia here, and this call is recorded. It's going to be posted in Wealth Mindset Group on YouTube. So if you're not part of our group, you could join our group, Wealth Mindset Group. Okay. So, you guys have any questions? You guys can ask questions in chat. I'm going to talk about me and the stuff that I've been through before I got this information. My life was it was up and down, and when you learn this stuff, you just basically become a student for life. And I'm taking notes myself. I'm also taking notes because I learn from myself as well. So it's not just, let me just talk. I actually have my notes here from when I went to our Bob Proctor training, and events that I paid for, events that costed like 15,000. Like the Matrix event was like $15,000. So we're actually not in California yet, but we're supposed to do this event in California. We'll be in California in a few hours. So tomorrow we'll definitely be in California, but this event is Thursday, Friday, Saturday, okay? And we're just gonna freestyle it. Let me know if you guys could hear me. Give me a thumbs up if you guys can hear me. We're gonna freestyle this, okay? Let me see. Okay, you guys can hear me. All right, great. So we're gonna just freestyle it, okay, guys? And so where do I start? I would encourage you to get a pen, okay? And you're gonna need a notebook, okay? And you guys might have questions for me, okay? Which is totally fine. Ask me questions about this stuff. Don't be afraid to ask me questions, because like I'm studying this information for 11 years. And even like myself, when manifestation occurs, when these things happen in physical reality, I wonder myself, like, how the hell did this stuff happen? Bob Proctor, he had an event called How to Take Your Annual Salary and Make It Into Your Monthly Salary. And in the beginning, I was like, how's that possible? How can you take 100,000 a year and turn it into a weekly salary or a monthly salary? Now, Napoleon Hill says that the subconscious mind doesn't know the difference between a penny and $1 million. Through repetition of the same information, that's why repetition is important. You're going to send it to the subconscious mind. When it goes into the subconscious mind, it produces the places, the events, the situations to match up to your goal. Now, in my sister's case, she just bought my mom and dad a vacation home, kind of like a retirement home. And let me let some people in. So in my sister's case, she actually had a dream board, and she manifested a kitchen that was on her dream board. So sometimes it manifests correctly, and sometimes it manifests, but the color might be different. What do I mean by that? Well, I'm talking on some iPad Pros, right, for the iPhone. But let's say I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna buy these iPod Pros. Well, sometimes you're gonna get something similar to it, right? You might get a different color. You might get the black version. You might get, a pink rose. But what I'm trying to say is, when manifestation happens, when you create something from nothing, right? It just happens. Earl Nightingale, he was mentored by Napoleon Hill. And Earl Nightingale said it, and he said it best. He says that the subconscious mind is like the dirt. You can plant nightshade, a deadly poison, and not even a 16th of an inch away, you can plant corn, a sweet food. It gives you what you plant. So you have to plant these things, right? Les Brown was talking about a bamboo tree, right? People are watering the ground and it takes 5 years for a bamboo tree to come up. Now, when you're watering the ground, people don't realize, well, why is this person watering the ground for so many years? There's nothing there. This person's crazy, right? But literally within 5 years, after the 5 years, within 6 months, that bamboo tree goes to like 90 feet high. So what I'm trying to tell you guys is that there's a season to sow, there's a season to reap, but you don't do both in the same season. You don't go out there and say, okay, well, I'm gonna make $50 million, right? If the most you've ever made was 50,000, you're not gonna go out there and make $50 million next week through the law of attraction. Now, the law of attraction is one of those tricky things where it could happen and it could not. It could manifest and it could not. You could wait. In Bob Proctor's case, he waited about 50 years to start a company that operates all around the world. In my case, to attract $1.7 million, it took me about 2 years. I started the loan modification clinic, loan modification business, and I made the 1.75. And I found the notebook at my mom's house, and it says, "I'm so happy and grateful now that I made 1.75 million." Now, it didn't say it just like that, right? It said, "My name is Rosendo Garcia. I'm going to start a company. I'm going to do TV, radio broadcasting to help people save their homes." So you have to be precise. You have to know what you want. You have to know why you want it. What is it? Why is it that you want this thing? And you don't have to worry about how it's going to come about. You just have to go for the goal. Now, when I got this information, it was about 10 years ago. I was sitting at my mom's house. I had went through a DUI in which I put someone in a coma. He was in a coma for 3 days, and I didn't know whether I was going to end up in jail for 7 years or if I was going to be let free, right? Because I put someone in a coma because I was drunk. I was hanging around with the wrong people, wrong situation, and basically I went, like, my life basically ended there. So that was in 2010. I had just graduated from Northwestern College with a finance and investment management degree. My goal was to go to New York and to work for Goldman Sachs. If you guys don't know who Goldman Sachs is like an investment company, right? So during that time, I was working for JP Morgan Chase Bank, and I was running their mortgage department in 3 states, Texas, Louisiana, and Florida. And basically, I was just helping people understand what credit reports are, what debt to income ratios are, how to qualify for a loan. And I wasn't happy because I was making more money before I was working for a bank. But the only reason I went to go work for a bank was because they said that there was no business doing loans as an independent broker. So I went out to go work for a bank. And I had my mortgage license. I did all the requirements that the state was looking for, and I tried everything, right? So basically, the topic is like how you try everything and still fail, right? And you're still not happy. Because happiness is an inside job. A lot of people think that money is going to bring happiness. A lot of people think that the house, the car, the boat, a certain lifestyle is going to make you happy. What we teach at Proctor Gallagher Institute, what we teach is happy, healthy, and wealthy. Happy, healthy, and wealthy. HHW. Remember that, guys. You guys may want to write that down. So, I wasn't happy, right? And I was like, man, I went through this DUI. I went into boot camp, and they gave me 6 months of boot camp. Luckily, the guy survived. Everything was okay with him. But when I got out of there, I met this person on YouTube, not in like reality, right? But I saw Napoleon Hill, and he was talking about the laws of success. Now, I made a decision when I was listening to him that I was going to take the information serious, and I wanted a better life for myself and for my family. And I made a decision that I was just going to listen to what this man had to say. And if you guys ever heard the video, he says, "May you sit down, right? May you be seated, please." He's like, "Let me talk to you about a law that is basically all around you. You can't see it. It's like the air. But the more you understand it, you're going to understand that you were born with, I guess, two options. One option is the power to control your own mind, to have whatever you want. And the other option is failure to control your own mind. You see, in between what he was saying, after years of research, I realized that we're dealing with the law, and that law is the law of polarity. Okay. So you guys may want to write that down, the law of polarity. Now, the law of polarity states that there's opposites. There's always two pictures, right? So your thought has two sides to it, a positive polarity and a negative polarity. And the more you understand that you're dealing with basic universal principles, you're going to understand that you can start to create. So you have the lower faculties, what you can see, smell, taste, hear, and touch. And then you have the higher faculties. That's what we're working on right now. Your imagination, the will, reasoning, intuition, memory, and perception. Now, your will, Napoleon Bonaparte, the other Napoleon, he had a strong will. He took over France. He ended up going to Russia. How did he do it? Because he says, I only see the objective. The object must give way. So there's always things in front of you and you have to move them. How do you move them out your way? By holding the picture of the good that you desire. By making a big number look small. I write 100 million in my palm of my hand, make it look small. Even if you've never made 100 million, you have nothing to lose, right? You have to have a goal worth failing for. You have to have a goal that you don't know how you're going to get there, right? But you're going to write this stuff down. Now, the subconscious mind has like a brick wall, right? And when you're trying to go through it to get to your goal, it stops you. It tells you all the reasons why you can't. It tells you you were never any good. No one in your family has ever broke through that finish line. It's very difficult. It's not going to work. Listen to your friends, listen to your family. But when it comes down to it, the secret that I learned listening to Napoleon Hill and Bob Proctor is that it's just energy. Now, science and theology, they disagree on a lot of things, but they come to an unanimous decision on one thing, that nothing's created, nothing's destroyed. So everything you want's already here. How is it here? Well, we're dealing with dimensions, with, I guess you could say, layers, right? With frequencies. Now, the law of attraction is actually a secondary law. The first law is the law of vibration. But on top of the law of vibration is the perpetual transmutation of energy. So like I said, energy just is. It's neither created nor destroyed. It's the cause and effect of itself. It's 100% evenly present in all places at all times. Now, through this energy, we were able to create the method of communication, which were on a wireless phone. But a lot of people back in 1900, they said, well, there is no way you could have wireless telephone because you need a wire, right? You're gonna need a wire. There's no way that you can fly airplanes. Well, guess what? There's been flying planes out here all along. You just couldn't see them. So the life that you want, you have to connect to it. You have to vibrate on the same frequency. Just like when you turn a channel, you're going to, like, let's say 97.9. But right now you're not operating on 97.9 because you don't understand how 97.9 would feel. So when you talk about mastering the law of attraction, you're talking about looking at yourself in the mirror. Because my mentor, Bob Proctor, said, he's like, look, Ross, you're the only problem you will ever have, and you're the only solution. When you're looking for opportunity in the outside world, that's great, right? But what you want to work on is the inside. That's why my mentor, Bob, always says, you can't paint the kitchen by painting the outside of the house. You have to start with the kitchen. So how do you start with the kitchen? By jumping on these calls, guys. These calls are so important for your success. And I'll tell you why. Because the people that need it the least are on here the most. And the people that need it the most are on here the least. That's how it works, guys. The people that don't need it, not because you don't need it, because you always need it, and it's always here. It never sleeps. It never sleeps, guys. It never sleeps. Like, you guys might not know this, right? But the subconscious mind is always thinking when you're not thinking. Now, there was a professor, pretty much known as the father of psychology. His name was William James, right? So guys might want to write that name down. And William James was the first professor of psychology at Harvard University. And he says that you have about 60,000 thoughts per day, 60,000. Now, Napoleon Hill says that most of those thoughts they have nothing to do with your major purpose, with your definite purpose. So you have to have a desire, you have to have a pen, and you have to have a notebook, and you have to write this stuff down. You think in pictures, right? So you have to entertain the right picture because your mind is all over the place. These calls are basically to crystallize the thing that you want. You don't want smoke, right? You want that smoke to go away. And you want to be sure that this is what you want. You want to grab a pen, you want to grab a blank sheet of paper, and then you want to write down what you want. Peggy McCall, she works with Bob as well. She's a New York Times bestseller. Peggy McCall calls it a life script. Okay, we could call it a life script, but design the life that you want. Don't question how this is going to happen. You know, you could start off with, I'm so happy and grateful now that, I have a business or that I'm making $50,000 a month. If the most that you've ever made was like, let's say 150,000 a year, take that and make it into your monthly salary. And this whole concept of law of attraction is basically using the creative side of your brain, okay? Because you have two sides, right? That's the law of polarity right there. You have the right side, which is the logical side, and then you got the left side, you got the creative side, right? So when you're working with the higher faculties, your imagination, the will, the ability to focus, reasoning, intuition, memory, and perception. And then you also have the hunch. The hunch is like a gut feeling that this is something that you have to do. And just to talk about the hunch, like the higher faculties that you have, these God-given abilities, the hunch is what Thomas Edison used when he would take cat naps, and he let the thought communicate to him through the space, right? We'll talk more about the space right now, but the space is intelligent. The space has a lot of things going on in the space. Now, you've been condensed, you've been, you're the person, this is your name, this is who you are, but there's also a space between me and you. Now, Wallace Wattles in the book, The Science of Getting Rich, you guys may want to get that book, The Science of Getting Rich. He says that there's a thinking stuff from which all things are made. A thought impressed upon this stuff produces the thing that's imagined by the thought. So from the thought to the thing, right? From the thought to the thing. A lot of people are looking at the thing with what their lower faculty, what they could see, right? They're looking at the thing. Well, I see the Ferrari, I see the life, right? But Wallace Wattles says that not always the truth is in the appearances of things. So when you see people happy, chances are they might not be happy, right? So appearances aren't always so. He says to think the truth, you must think the truth regardless of appearances. Now, the truth is different for me and you, from us. Everyone has a different truth, a different perception of reality, right? But I didn't know these things. I didn't know about the higher faculties, about the imagination, the will, reason, intuition, memory, and even the hunch, what Thomas Edison used to create the incandescent light bulb. And to talk about Thomas Edison, he created the incandescent light bulb through the method of combustion. That's why when you drop a bulb, it pops. So how does combustion come about? Well, he used the method of carbon. When you're trying to burn wood and then you put water on it, it turns into carbon, into what you could cook on. right? So that's how he did it. So the oxygen stays inside of the wood. When you burn it to a certain temperature, you put water and dirt on it, and then you take it out and it becomes carbon. And that's what you can use to cook, right? Um, so so that's how these things happen. He created the light bulb, and he housed the oxygen in the bulb. That's why when you drop a bulb, it pops. So you have a lot of people that you can research on. I like Wallace Wattles because his book is small, and it just makes sense, right? The way he basically makes it so easy for you guys like to understand. He basically says like, look, there's a thinking stuff from which all things are made. A thought impressed upon the stuff produces the thing that's imagined by the thought. Now I know it word for word because I've been studying for so long, right? But you also have Napoleon Hill, you have Bob Proctor, you have Thomas Troward. Thomas Troward, he was a judge that was from England descent, but he went to India to study and to basically, he like learned from monks, right? And he basically taught psychology in his books, the Dory Lectures, The Law and the Word, the Edinburgh Lectures on Mental Science. Now, this is like some deep psychology stuff. So what does William James Thomas Troward psychology have to do with with the law of attraction? Basically, the law of attraction is basically you're repeating something that is not true, right? You're repeating something that is not real because this is real, this water is real, right? But you're repeating an idea to yourself, an idea that you can be a better person, an idea that just because you grew up in the wrong side of the tracks, or just because you didn't go to school, or because you ended up being a product of society and you became a failure, didn't mean that you're going to be there forever. Through this information, there's been so many millionaires made because of Napoleon Hill. There's so many people that have helped, not just in money, but just in a better life and a better thought about who they are, right? So you got Maxwell Maltz, Psycho-Cybernetics. That's a book. You guys may want to get that. And what I could tell you guys is that I was always wondering how the law of attraction worked. I was always wondering, like, how did this happen to me, right? How did I go from making, the most I've ever made when I used to sell cell phones, like I was like 20 years old, 19, 20, and I made more money than my dad, right? Like I was selling phones at one point. My dad worked construction. He just wanted to give us a better life, right? But I was selling phones for Circuit City, and I think the most I've ever made was like $75,000 a year. So I went from making $75,000 a year all the way to I was like 28 years old, and I was just trying so hard to make money in the mortgage industry. And then I went to work for a bank because everybody told me that I wasn't going to get ahead unless I had a degree, unless I had a corporate job, unless I worked for the corporate world, that I would get ahead, right? But that's not true, because I did it, and then I ended up going through a DUI because I wasn't happy. I was miserable, right? So I almost died, almost killed someone, And then I was 28, 29 years old, and I just became like coachable. I just became like tired of freaking trying to do it on my own, right? And I like what Bob Proctor said, because like, if you ever read The Science of Getting Rich, the Proctor Gallagher version of the book, in the back of the book of The Science of Getting Rich, he says, why do you need a mentor? He's like, hi, my name is Bob Proctor. And the reason that you need a mentor is because you want somebody to hold you accountable for the things that you want. So when you have to pay $6,000, $7,000 to have a mentor, like I said, the people that need it the least are the ones that are buying the programs. And the people that need it the most are thinking poverty consciousness. They're thinking, oh, $6,000 is a lot of money. I'm not going to pay the $6,000. It's too much money, But if you only knew, if you would take a chance, right? Because I've spent thousands of dollars on college, right? And I've learned more with the law of attraction, studying with Bob Proctor, than I did going to college. The degree is there to help you, get a corporate job, right? But what I learned through Bob is how to have a happy life, right? How to be happy with yourself, how to control your mind. And the mind is programmed negatively and environmentally. So let me repeat that. James Allen, he wrote a book called As a Man Thinketh. Now, James Allen says that your mind is programmed negatively and environmentally by what you see, taste, smell, hear, and touch, right? Why is it programmed negatively and environmentally? Well, because you had an imagination up to you were like 7, 9 years old. They told you to stop imagining, stop daydreaming in school. They told you, wake up, put your feet on the ground. You need A's and B's. But guess what? If you only knew that people that got F's, D's, C's became millionaires, not just because the valedictorian of the school that graduated with honors, sometimes, not all times, right? That valedictorian goes out to the real world and he gets crushed emotionally, physically. He gets hurt, right? Because life kicks you in the butt. But you have to see the opposite side to the negative picture. And that's why these calls are important, because they're built in a way for you to control your thoughts in a positive frame, in a positive way of it being, in a positive outcome, right? So what I do is I say, okay, you want me to coach you, right? You want me to talk to you about the law of attraction. You want to do this, this, and this. Cool. You're going to need a pen and a blank sheet of paper. And what I want you to do is I want you to start writing all the negative thoughts that you have throughout the day. You can write, well, I'm never going to be a millionaire because nobody in my family was a millionaire. I'm never going to be happy in a relationship because all my friends are not in relationships. So I'm not going to be in a relationship. I'm never going to have $1 million in my bank account because I don't even have $10,000 in my bank account, right? So the more that you write down all the negative stuff, right, you're going to realize that you're screwing up here. You're not writing down the positives. Now, when it comes to this information, right, you're going to need the higher faculties, what you could imagine, your perception, reasoning, right? You need the higher faculties. And you also need to see this stuff. You need to feel it and believe that that's who you are, because nothing's created, nothing's destroyed. So it's already here, but you have to connect with it with your imagination, right? So you need that. And then you also need to write down how you want your life to be. You have to eliminate the negatives. It's just like a math problem, right? Once you start seeing the math problem and you're like, okay, 1 + 1 is 2, 2 + 2 is 4, 4 × 4 is 16, right? You understand how this works. So I guess you could say you want to start off in the end. So let's just go into fantasy, right? Because that's the opposite of logic. Logic is go to school, get a job, you're going to get ahead, right? Fantasy is let me create an idea. Let me create a plan of action. It doesn't have to be precise. And then fantasize, and then it's going to manifest. A lot of people don't understand that they're creators. They don't understand that they could build a picture of abundance and attract an abundance. They could build a picture of making a big number look small, writing down there multiple millions. You could write down whatever you want, right? But you have to feel. You have to feel it. You have to believe it. And you have to put a date on it. Like, I'm going to have this by this date, right? Now, when I found out about that this stuff is real, I was already convinced I'm going to work with Bob Proctor. This was in 2016. And then I just kept reading. I just kept studying Think and Grow Rich. I kept listening to the rare audio recordings of Napoleon Hill. And it's true. The subconscious mind doesn't know the difference between a penny and $1 million. Through repetition, it must accept what you're saying. Now, to talk about Napoleon Hill and Andrew Carnegie, I was in New York in 2016, and I was watching Bob Proctor on stage, right? And he was talking about the story of how Andrew Carnegie met Napoleon Hill. Now, Napoleon Hill met Andrew Carnegie, right? Napoleon Hill was a newspaper reporter, didn't make money, he was broke, he barely had enough money to get back home. And he met Andrew Carnegie, the richest person in the world. Most of the buildings in New York were built through his steel company. So Andrew Carnegie was worth billions of dollars, right? And he told Napoleon a secret. He said, any idea that's emphasized, that's repeated, that's either feared or revered, taking over to the subconscious mind will begin to clothe itself in its most convenient fashion. So it'll produce itself. So any idea feared or revered, when it goes into the subconscious mind, game over. How does it go into the subconscious mind? Through enthusiasm. It goes into the subconscious mind with excitement, with happiness, with joy, with the thought of, this is who I am. So your imagination is just as important as your reality. So I'm going to repeat that. Your dream world is just as real as your real world. Doesn't that sound crazy, right? So they asked Van Gogh, how do you do so beautiful work? How do you become like the best painter, right? And he's like, I dream my painting, then I paint my dream. I dream my painting, then I paint my dream. So you never get a first copy of a Mona Lisa, right? You don't get the first copy. The first copy of the Mona Lisa was in Leonardo da Vinci's mind. The first copy was in his mind. You're looking at the second copy. So everything was created in the mind. And that's why I like James Allen from the book, As a Man Thinketh. He says, mind is the master power that molds and makes, and man is mind. And evermore he takes the tools of thought, shaping what he will, brings 1,000 joys or 1,000 ills. He thinks in secret and it comes to pass. His environment is but his looking glass. So what do you see in your environment? Do you see abundance, prosperity, more money coming in, good friends, everyone's doing great? Or do you see broke, poverty, lack, limitation? People talk about smoking cigarettes. The funny part about what Napoleon Hill, when he wrote a book called Outwitting the Devil, he basically said that like smoking cigarettes is kind of like a negative state of mind, right? And everyone has habits, right? But some habits are holding you down. So when people get pissed off or when they get nervous, I know because I used to smoke, start having a cigarette, and you're like, okay, time to move on, right? Napoleon Hill, it was funny, he actually used the word drifters. He's like, you want to be a drifter? Then great, you could drift away, right? But, everyone has a different way of managing or handling their negative thoughts. I handle it by going to the gym, right? I haven't been to the gym recently, so, no one's perfect, right? But going to the gym is a way to handle it. Another way is playing basketball or doing something that could like put you in a neutral state where you're not constantly thinking about how you're going to get rich, right? You need to you guys need to stop pressuring yourself, okay? It's all good in the hood, all right? Stop trying to make this shit happen. You guys need to relax, okay? And I hope you guys are taking notes because this stuff is really important. Relax. It's not that serious. It's going to happen, guys. Put a date on it. The life, the dream that you want is going to happen. So there was a quote, right? When I was listening to Bob on stage, and there was a quote by Genevieve Behrend. Genevieve is with a G, right? Genevieve Behrend. She was mentored by Thomas Troward. Genevieve, she really wanted Thomas Troward to mentor her, and he didn't have any students. So that was her only student. And Thomas Troward, you know, he wrote the Edinburgh Lectures on Mental Science. So this guy was like a pretty smart dude, right? And Bob Proctor refers to Thomas Troward as one of the best literature writers in the last 500 years, okay? So you guys may want to buy some of his books. You could buy the book. It's called The Hidden Power by Thomas Troward. Recommend that one for you. But she says, Genevieve Behrend, just to quote Genevieve Behrend, because when I saw the words on the board, I made a decision that I was gonna learn what she had wrote down in her book, Your Invisible Power. If you guys want to buy her book, that's one of Bob Proctor's top books. It's called Your Invisible Power. So I made a decision that I was gonna remember what she said. And I'm gonna tell you guys what she said. She says, when you bring these unseen causes into harmony with your conception, you can make practical working realities of possibilities that at present seem but fantastic dreams, okay? So you guys might not be able to write that, right? But you guys could always hit rewind because this video is gonna be available on Wealth Mindset Group on YouTube, okay? So I'm gonna repeat that. When you bring these unseen causes into harmony, what's harmony? The opposite of chaos, okay? When you bring these unseen causes into harmony with your conception, with your thought, you can make practical working realities. More than one, you can make practical working realities of possibilities that at present, today, that at present seem but fantastic dreams, okay? So I'm gonna repeat that again, because I love the way that she says it. When you bring these unseen causes, what are unseen causes? The thing that you want, the life, making a big number look small, making 150 million, making $1 billion. And I know that sounds illogical, but these concepts are totally illogical. Logical, like I said, go to school, get a job, you're gonna get ahead. These are illogical thoughts. We're dealing with unseen causes. We're dealing with a certain frequency. We're dealing with multiple frequencies, with multiple dimensions, with quantum, with more than one. When you bring these unseen causes into harmony with your conception, you can make practical working realities because they all work. All the realities work that at present seem but fantastic dreams. It would be a fantastic dream for you to not work your job because maybe you don't like your job. It would be a fantastic dream if you paid off your house because you still have debt. It would be a fantastic dream for you to travel the world, but you can't. Why? Ask yourself why. Why can't I do these things? And when it comes down to it, you're the only problem and you're the only solution, guys. You're the only problem, you're the only solution. Genevieve Behrend says, when you bring these unseen causes into harmony with your conception, you can make practical working realities of possibilities that at present seem but fantastic dreams. Fantastic dream to turn a $9 an hour into multiple millions of dollars, right? No job, you're self-employed, go wherever you want, drive whatever you want. You want to buy a Rolls Royce? Fine, you could buy one every month if you want. If you want to buy a house? Fine, you could buy one every month if you want. Why? Because there's a law of compensation that Bob Proctor actually talks about. So the law of compensation states that there has to be a need for what you do, your ability to do it, and the difficulty there will be in replacing it. Is there a need for what you do? Ask yourself that. Because if you're selling socks online, there must be a need because people need socks. Your ability to sell those socks online and the difficulty there will be in replacing it. Is there a need for cryptocurrency? Yes, there's a need. Is there a need for people to get education? Yes, there's a need. Is there a transfer of wealth going on right now? Yes, there's a transfer of wealth. Why? Because the money system is flawed. There's problems with the money system because they keep printing money, okay? And this is a transfer of wealth. Robert Kiyosaki talked about it. You got Michael Saylor, for MicroStrategies buying Bitcoin. So you have a transfer of wealth. That's the practical side. But what we're talking about is the non-practical, the dream world, the imagination. Writing something that doesn't seem like it could happen. And you're thinking far ahead from today. You're looking 5 years from now, or maybe 6 months from now. And you're saying, okay, in 6 months, I'm gonna take my annual salary and make it into my monthly salary. If the most you've ever made was 75,000 a year, you're gonna make 75,000 a month. When you're done writing it, you're gonna ask yourself, how am I gonna do it? Okay, believe it or not, when you're done writing it, you're gonna ask yourself, how is this gonna happen? Ross, I'm going through the seminar. I'm listening to what you're saying. Guess what? I need to know how. The how is gonna present to you. The how will present itself to you. When I started the loan modification clinic, I met someone on the radio. He came to my office. I said, I don't have any money. He said, don't worry, come to the radio station tomorrow. We're gonna figure it out. I'm gonna put you on the radio. 5 clients a month to making 10,000 a month, 5,000 a month to making 150,000 a month. How do I do that? I did that because once you start writing this stuff down, you're building brain cells, new brain cells of recognition to the fact that you could have these things. A child, you've been programmed to think a certain way. You've been programmed to think in a certain way. But these calls, this information is to get rid of those programs and to pick up a new program. Why? Because the subconscious mind doesn't know the difference between the real world and the imagination. So the more you're connected you are to this information, kind of like going to the gym, the more that you're going to the gym in your mind, the more you're going to start using the higher faculties. You're going to let go of what you see. You're going to let go of what's in front of you. The bank account doesn't matter what the bank account says. What matters is what you're thinking about. Even if it takes you 5 years, would you rather work 30 years in a job that you don't want? Or would you rather put in the work in this area for 5 years, and in 5 years, you're gonna make enough money to take care of you and all your family, right? How does it happen? You don't need to worry about how. All you need to do is work with the unseen. Work with the same communication that brings us the internet. Work with the information that is letting you see me and you. And there's no wire, guys, right? There's no wire from here to Australia or from here to New York. There's no wire, guys. We're wireless. And when Einstein was looking into the law of relativity, because everything is condensed, but he's looking at the space, right? They couldn't measure it. They couldn't measure the space. So what is the space between me and you? What Wallace Wattles talks about in The Science of Getting Rich. Well, the space is the thinking stuff, the intelligent stuff, okay? And it brings us the internet, it brings us wireless communication. And when you impress your thought upon this unseen force, because you can't feel it, you can't see it, it's unseen, but there's more going on in the space between me and you in this space, right? What is it called? Well, it's called the ether, okay? So I don't know why they called it the ether, but that's what brought us wireless communication through the space between me and you. Where does the cryptocurrency come from? From the space. Where does the internet come from? From the space. How do you drive your car and put on your seatbelt and turn into the radio if there's no wire? Who's at the other end of that radio? There's somebody on the other end of the radio talking or music playing, and you're able to tune into it. The space is intelligent. This is what Wallace Wattles says. He says there's a thinking stuff from which all things are made. All things means this. Why is it thinking stuff from which all things are made? Because it's energy. It's neither created nor destroyed. It's 100% evenly present in all places at all times. And you have energy all around you. This energy is coming to you and it's building pictures of either what you want or what you don't want. And you're entertaining those pictures all day long. Oh, I don't have any money. I'm not going to be able to pay my house. I'm going broke. I'm not going to be able to do it. Well, guess what? You are what you say.
So you're not. So how do you change it? By starting to analyze what you're thinking about, by writing down what your thoughts are. I'm a loser. I can't pay off the house. I'm no good. And then burn it, because it has a meaning. When you burn it, there's another meaning behind it, because you're letting it go. You're too busy holding on to all the negative stuff that's holding you down, that you can't think a new thought. You can't think or produce a new thought in your mind, because the mind is not the brain. The brain is physical. The mind is up here. The mind is not in your brain. It's right here, and it's grabbing the energy, making pictures of either positive or negative pictures. That's what Andrew Carnegie told Napoleon Hill. He says, when you bring these unseen causes, not that's Wallace Waddles, but Andrew Carnegie told him, any idea that's emphasized, that's feared or revered, that's either negative or this could happen, that any idea that's feared or revered. And when Andrew Carnegie died, they went through his drawer and they found two gold cards, right? One gold card, his goals, right? He said, I'm going to make millions of dollars the first half of my life. And the other one was, I'm going to dedicate the other half of my life to giving all the money away. Because at the end of his death, he had a hard time giving all the money away because he was the richest person in the world. So it's true. Any idea that's emphasized. Why is the emphasization so important? Because on a subconscious level, you don't believe it. Excuse me. So on a subconscious level, you don't believe it. Okay. So on a subconscious level, you don't believe it. You see it in your mind, but you're not connecting it through your emotion, your heart, and the mind. It's a connection, the subconscious. That's why Napoleon Bonaparte, when he would take pictures, he took his picture. If you guys ever seen, he always had his hand inside because he's connected to the subconscious. There's a reason behind it. He's connecting, he's letting you know, I understand these laws. I'm connected to the subconscious, because the subconscious is the heart, it's the emotions, it's who you are or who they told you you were, and you believed it. You're a loser. You're never going to amount to nothing. You're never going to be like your father, or you're the black sheep of the family. You're not going to get ahead. You need to start listening. Put your feet on the ground. Stop talking rubbish. Stop saying that you're going to make 100,000 a week. You're crazy, right? And you believe it. But when you let go of all the baggage, when you go out there, play some basketball, go to the gym, start talking to people that will actually lift you up, right? Which is very difficult. Napoleon Hill says that sometimes it's like going into a bank when you need a loan. Instead of the banker saying, yeah, of course, let me help you get a loan, the banker's laughing at you because you need the money. And that's how the world is. They start laughing at you. They laugh at you. They're saying, you're an idiot. You're a loser. You're not gonna do it. Don't even try. And look, I've been alone. I've had ups and downs. I felt like I was a loser. But you know what the difference is? That I never quit. And that's why Napoleon Hill says, he says, a winner never quits and a quitter never wins. You can't be a quitter, guys. You got to be like Thomas Edison when he was creating the incandescent light bulb. You got to go through 10,000 failures before you figure it out. There's people that won't even go through 100 failures. And guess what? They're going to put the law of attraction away. They're going to say, nah, this shit's not real. Let me go to school like I did. Let me go get a job. I'm not going to listen to this guy. He doesn't know what he's talking about. But if you were to go through this call and Google everybody, I'm telling you, and you start Googling these people, you're going to find out that I did my research, guys. And that's why I'm a multimillionaire. But a million, a billion, the subconscious mind doesn't know the difference. It's whatever you say, it's whatever you want. That's why I'm actually kind of shocked when Bob Proctor would tell somebody, tell me what you want, and I'm going to help you get it. And in the beginning, I was like, there's no way that you can help get someone what they want. There is no way. But we're dealing with energy. It just is. It's looking to become. That's what Wallace Waddle says. There's a thinking stuff from which all things are made. a thought impressed upon this stuff produces the thing that's imagined by the thought. When you impress your thought upon this stuff, it produces the thing. It's from the thought to the thing. You have the thought up here, it goes into the subconscious, it connects to your heart, you're connected to that, and it produces the thing. But if the alignment doesn't match the frequency, if it doesn't match the frequency, it's not going to happen. There's a connection not being made. That's why a lot of people, they try talking about the law of attraction, they try explaining the law of attraction, but they can't really explain to you the God-given abilities, the higher faculties. They don't understand that the mind is not the brain. The brain is the physical part of the mind. The mind is an activity, and you have to control that activity. You have to control it and impress thoughts of abundance. Impress the big number, make a big number look small. Start putting commas in the money that you want to make. And eventually the subconscious mind is going to pick it up and it's going to produce the fact. Okay? So before we end the call, right? Tomorrow, if you don't today, have a pen. Get a pen and get a notebook, okay? A blank notebook. And if you already have a notebook, great. If you already have your goal written out, great. Maybe I could help you buff it out to crystallize it. Put a date on your goal and do what Napoleon Hill did when he met Andrew Carnegie. Andrew Carnegie, he basically sent Napoleon Hill, he said, look, Napoleon, would you be interested in writing about the laws of success? And he said, I don't know what you're talking about. Like, I don't even know what philosophy means. Like, he's like, well, would you be interested? He's like, after 28 seconds, he said, yeah, Mr. Carnegie, I'll be interested. Like, you could depend on me that I will achieve it. So he told Napoleon, go in front of a mirror and tell yourself that you're going to surpass me, that you're going to do more than me, right? But Napoleon Hill's like, how am I going to surpass you if you're the richest person in the world? And he's like, after 3 weeks of him telling himself in the mirror, he's like, I started to believe it. That's why James Allen says, you think in pictures and it comes to pass. Your environment is but your looking glass. So you think in pictures. So you have pictures that you're entertaining throughout the day. Choose 5 pictures that you want, not 60,000, because you have about 60,000 thoughts a day. So choose like 5 thoughts that you want to entertain. Tell yourself money affirmations, right? Tell yourself, I'm so happy and grateful now that money comes to me in increasing quantities through multiple sources on a continuous basis. Walk around while you're going to the gym. I'm so happy and grateful now that money comes to me in increasing quantity through multiple sources on a continuous basis. Because you're thinking in pictures, and when you're telling yourself these things, you start to create pictures in your mind of money coming to you in increasing quantity through multiple sources on a continuous basis. And you're at the gym and you're playing basketball, or you're doing this, money comes to me in increasing quantity. And you think of money, you're thinking abundance, you're thinking, oh my God, money's coming to me. Because it's just energy, it's looking to become, it's working through you. There was a photographer, a Russian photographer, he perfected a form of photography in the 1930s. His name was Semyon Kurlin, Kurlin, Kurlin. He perfected a form of photography where you could see the mass leaving the body. So you could see the energy just like leaving the body, right? Now, the energy, it just is. So when it comes into you, you create pictures, positive pictures of abundance. Use your higher faculties, your God-given ability, your imagination to impress those pictures upon the subconscious mind. And when your subconscious mind connects to it through your emotions, when it connects to it, it says, this is true. What I believe you. Now, it's easier when someone in your family gets rich, right? When someone close to you becomes a millionaire or is making millions of dollars, and you see that they went from nothing to something, right? From zero to hero. You're like, okay, if he could do it, I know I could do it. Especially if you're in the same area, if you're in the same business that they're in. You start asking questions. Hey, how did you do it? How did you do it? But when you're studying the law of attraction, it's like you have the perpetual transmutation of energy. So energy just is. You have the law of relativity, right? The the uncondensed, I guess, the space between me and you. You have the law of vibration, the law of cause and effect, and then you have the last law. The last law is it's called the law of gender. You guys may want to write this stuff down. The law of gender states that there's an incubation and ingestation period to every seed. We know what it is for a woman having a child is 9 months, but we don't know what a spiritual seed is. A spiritual seed could take you, like I said, in Bob Proctor's case, 50 years. A spiritual seed, in my case, took 2 or 3 years. A spiritual seed, in your case, it depends on you. It could take you a year, it could take you 6 months, it could take you 5 years. But like I said, would your life be better off where it was before you got this information or now that you got this information? Now, my life is better because I got this information, and that's why I have time, money, and freedom. Um, I'm not perfect. I'm still studying the information. I'm still growing. I still have other goals that I'm working towards. Everyone has these goals. You just have to know what you want. When you bring these unseen causes into harmony with your conception, you can make practical working realities of possibilities that at present seem but fantastic dreams. Right now, you're probably driving around in a freaking Honda, right? Your car's all scratched up, your window's broken, right? And you want a freaking Ferrari. You want a Porsche or a Rolls Royce, right? But guess what? I've been in situations where I didn't even have enough money for to get to my destination. I didn't even have enough gas to get to where I needed to get to, right? And I could tell you guys, it's all mindset. Like when Bob Proctor talks about, oh, it's 95% mindset, 5% strategy. It's true, guys. A lot of people think, no, 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 you got to work hard to make millions of dollars. No, Napoleon Hill says working hard doesn't bring riches. Riches come, if they come at all, they're based upon definite demand, not by mere chance or luck. Luck has nothing to do with this. It's either black and white, positive or negative. Formulate a picture, have faith, believe that that picture is already here, act as if. And if you guys don't know how to act, then I would encourage you guys to get the book, The Art of Acting by Stella Adler. Stella Adler, guys, there's a Adler Academy in California and New York. Okay, The Art of Acting. And she taught method acting. Who are the actors that learn method acting? Marlon Brando from The Godfather, Robert De Niro, Al Pacino. These people learn method acting and are some of the best actors in the world. So you have to act as if. And if you don't know how to act, like I said, you got to get the book, The Art of Acting by Stella Adler, and start acting as if, like they say, fake it to make it. But guess what? The subconscious mind doesn't know what's real and what's not real. It doesn't know the difference between fake and real because I guess you could say it's the middle ground. It's the zero. It's neither positive nor negative. It just is, right? When you impress just is with something that you really, really want and you put a date on it, right? Like a notebook, just like Napoleon Hill and me are telling you to do, you write that stuff down, you sign it. This is what I'm gonna do. I'm signing this. It's either do or die, right? You're all in. There's gonna be a day that you have it, and that's why Napoleon Hill says, "Be careful what you ask for, because once you have it, it's already yours. You're stuck with it. So be careful what you want." You know, some people ask for millions and millions of dollars, and then they're like, "Shit, I should have never asked for this," right? But it's all good because you're looking to grow. Like Bob Proctor says, if you're not creating, you're disintegrating. If you're not growing, you're dying. You're here to do something that you haven't done before. You're here to grow. And that's the name of the game, is to grow. It's not about the money. The money is a reflection of the positive, the things that you're doing for people, the things that you're doing for yourself. That's going to attract an abundance. So you want to talk about mastering the law of attraction, you have to be well versed and you have to study these people. You have to study the right books. You have to keep believing, having faith, and it's gonna happen, guys. Put a date on there. Don't give up. And I'm gonna let you guys go. Tomorrow we'll do an hour. Maybe we could do 2 hours. Gather some questions for me, guys. Tomorrow I'll answer questions that you guys may have. If you guys are part of our WhatsApp group, if you guys, want to have answer, put the questions in WhatsApp, and tomorrow I'll answer them, or we could talk a little bit more about this information on WhatsApp. And I'm here. Like I said, I did it from the bottom to the top, and we're gonna keep going, moving forward. That's how it works, guys. So I hope you guys found this information useful, and we'll see you guys tomorrow on the call. Peace out.